Hello all, I'm Wadabra. Welcome to the final episode of Adastra. This is going to be a long one, so I'm just going to skip the preamble here and just go right to saying content warnings, chapter times, and a link to my Patreon can be found in the description below. Now let's get started. My last full day on Adastra comes just as soon as I thought it would. Too soon. As I sit on the stone bench, breathing in the cool early morning air, I find myself trying to think back on the last few months, even the last few weeks. It's all a bit blurry. The days continue in the same way, me with too much time on my hands, while Amicus was kept busy by a rapidly changing empire. With his assigned role already in progress, I've mostly been left to wait. And while the wait seemed torturously long, it simultaneously seemed unrealistically quick. It feels like only last week that I was touring the moon with Amicus, visiting the major cities on our way to pick up Cassius. It had been one of the better experiences I'd had on Adastra, really getting to see how different each part of the moon could be for the first time, despite the basically universal culture. I got to see the breathtaking mountain ranges that surrounded the city of Lux. I rode giant, questionably safe amusement rides and ate all kinds of good food in the city of Adrote, basically a giant Las Vegas. And all the while, I got to stay in luxurious villas owned by the imperial family, spending much of my time taking walks, fishing, and even hunting with Amicus. And then we picked up Cassius and Alex, and the trip ended. That was over 3 months ago. Ever since then, the only thing I've really focused on is my studies. I've learned enough of the language that I can hold stilted conversations with Amicus. He always enthusiastically tells me that I'm doing an amazing job, even though I know I probably sound like a very young child to him. One with a heavy, clumsy accent. I don't think I've done enough. None of this is going to help me with my mission on Earth. Not since the experience I had with Amicus in the archives have I heard from the Monitor, let alone the parents. Instead, they seem to be content to just let me drift around aimlessly, like I always have. It's actually gotten to the point that I even asked Amicus if what happened in the archives actually happened, or if it wasn't all just a dream. And speaking of dreams, I haven't even been given one of those. Not even an "all is well" from the space dragon. What's most infuriating, though, is that Amicus is actually in contact with them. Of course, he's asked on my behalf if they have anything to say to me, but nothing. I can only assume it's because they don't want to interfere with the process, even though they're eventually going to have to tell me something. At least direct me where to go first. Otherwise, they're probably just going to hospitalize me when I show up on Earth talking about space wolves and the impending assimilation with the Galaxius. I feel my insides twist uncomfortably, like they have been for the past several months, especially in the past week. Just this morning, I had to leave Amicus's room because I didn't want to keep waking him up with my tossing and turning. That, and lying there awake, watching Amicus innocently sleep next to me, is just a bit too much for me right now. I know I should be savoring these last moments, but instead I find myself consumed by worry. I'm going to be alone. That's something that has never really bothered me before I came here, but after being with Amicus for so long, and now with this path ahead of me, I go from hugging myself to twirling the now fitted ring on my finger. We had debated on whether or not to be married before I had to leave, but eventually we decided that Amicus should lay some legal groundwork first, so as to not cause too much of an uproar. He does have 8 years to do it after all, and that'll give me something to look forward to when I return. That is, assuming that the parents are telling the truth and, not for the first time, I wonder if I can really count on them to make sure I return to Adastra. They are controlling everything, and I don't think they would be sending me on a mission that would somehow result in me never coming back here. Because that's the whole point, right? I'm uniting 2 entirely different worlds. I sigh, closing my eyes at the ridiculous weight of that thought. I open my eyes again as I hear shuffling steps up the path. For a moment, I think it's going to be Amicus, maybe having woken up and found me missing from the bed. But no. I'm a bit surprised to see Virginia walking along the main path, head down as she manipulates one of those transparent tablets that the officials around here have. As she gets closer, I let out a soft cough so I don't surprise her. She looks up, her pace slowing before she realizes that it's me. I had assumed she would just continue on her way, but now she's deliberately walking in my direction.
Pleasant early morning to you, Marco.
Good morning.
I must say that I'm a bit surprised to see you outside before Vita has even risen.
I shrug. Had trouble sleeping. There's a pause, and Virginia gives me a look, one that I think is sympathetic. Even now, at the very end of my journey on Adastra, I still feel the stiff, awkward wall between us. Out of everyone I've met in the palace, I feel I know Virginia the least, and that includes Alex. And while her intentions did become clear to me, just like everyone else's did, I literally know nothing else about her. So what has you up so early? Virginia raises an eyebrow.
We have run out of time to negotiate funding for a few smaller provinces to the north. I'm using the early hours to make time.
That doesn't sound fun.
It is not meant to be fun. My life is now dedicated to serving the Empire. My own concerns do not matter.
I sigh. Listen, I'm gonna be honest here. You seem less happy now than you were before you had this position.
Again, my concerns are not important.
I'm not saying that they are. I'm just wondering why you wanted this position if it's only making your life worse. Virginia gives me a long, hard look. It always seems like our conversations become tense if we talk for more than 3 sentences.
I think that you are not understanding the concept. My concerns do not matter. I do not matter. What does matter is the work I do.
So, you just want to run the Empire in a more efficient way, or something?
Yes, or something.
You know, you could just be blunt like the Chemians are and tell me. We'd get to the point and then you wouldn't have to be so angry with me. The look on Virginia's face has me raising my hands defensively. All right, sorry. I know whenever I talk I just piss you off, so I'll just stop.
What has you so brash this morning?
Everything. I put out my hands to either side of myself, as if to indicate the whole situation I'm in. But at least I'm not always, I don't know, acting like you're just an annoying distraction? Hell, even Cassius acknowledges my presence more than you do. I mean, it's a bit late now, but considering I'm in a relationship with your brother, maybe we should get to know each other when I come back. Virginia regards me for a moment, then takes a deep breath.
Marco, I know you are leaving tomorrow, as we all do. But I also know that you will be back, and I will be made to work with you for a very long time. Likely the rest of our lives.
I frown. How would Virginia know I'll be working with the Empire? More importantly, is she supposed to know that? It gets me wondering if the parents are talking, just not to me. Virginia answers that question next, though.
Amicus told me, as he should have considering my position, it will help us prepare, at least in secret.
I wonder if the parents told him that was okay. As of now, I really don't want to deviate from their plans at all if it risks my mission. Virginia interrupts my thoughts, though.
But I will say this once, and never again, so remember it when you return.
I wait expectantly.
While young, my brothers and I experienced very different sides of my father. He coddled Amicus, neglected Cassius, and for me, it was a sort of in-between. He paid me very close but strict attention. Unlike my brothers who received lessons in maths, science, and combat, I was given lessons in speech, etiquette, but mainly I was subjected to long, cruel sessions of behavioral molding. He altered who I was as a person, something he would never do to his sons.
Oh. Why?
All I understood at the time was that he planned for me to occupy a prestigious position in the Empire. Still, I hated him for it. I felt almost no emotion when his sabotage ship crashed.
Oh.
Yes. Odd how he could project himself to be the most egalitarian emperor in our history, yet treat his own daughter like clay that he could shape in any way he wanted.
Now I'm really at a loss for words.
But following his death and the resulting power struggle, I came to learn why, and the reason was rather simple. If I were to be the first female in a particular position of power, I needed to set an example. Not only that, but I would need to ward off attempts by those in power to undermine me. My mind was already trained for the deceit I would come up against, and it serves me well, even now as officials spread rumors and attempt to discredit me. Amateurist rumors, I'll have you know. Seems they can't think of anything more complex than saying the reason I get so much done is because I'm a whore. But Father personally made sure I understood the most important lesson in this empire. Trust no male. It's what will keep me alive in this role. While I still hate Father, I understand him now, which is better than just hate.
Through all of this, I can only sit there, awkwardly on the bench. Okay, so is that why you treat me the way you do? I'm a male and you can't trust me?
Marco, I trust no one. I simply don't have to worry about women because they hold no power. Yet. I tell you this so that you might understand me, as you wished. We will need to be close allies in the future, after all. While I'm sure my upbringing has a little bit to do with my demeanor, the main reason for my shortness with you is simply due to your immaturity and lack of self-control. Amicus is no different.
I grimace. I think I'm a bit better than Amicus.
Yes, though he is growing into his position well enough. I'm sure you will as well.
I'm not sure if that's encouragement or an insult.
And thank you for saving my brother. I don't believe I've had the chance to say that yet. I know what I just said, but he is one of the few I can trust to be himself.
Then Virginia turns away, walking toward the Imperial ship.
I really must be off to the city now. I'll be present for your departure tomorrow morning. Goodbye.
Bye. I watch Virginia walk off into the dark, still feeling like I don't really know anything about her, even if she did kind of open up to me for the first time. At least she's willing to work with me on how to better integrate humanity. I had been worried about that. The edge of the sky is just turning a lighter shade of blue as I make my way back into the palace. This is usually about the time that Amicus wakes up, so I'm not surprised to hear the shower running when I walk into his room. I think about going into the bathroom, but then think better of it, not wanting to hold up Amicus's morning routine. I have to admit, though, that I'm a little disappointed that he didn't come looking for me first thing. Usually that's something he would do if he's not sure where I am. For now, I just sit on the bed and wait, gradually growing more tired as the minutes go by. Then the door slides open and Amicus steps out, freshly showered and dressed. He smiles brightly when he sees me.
There you are! I was wondering if maybe you'd gone to get breakfast early.
Immediately, I'm jarred by Amicus's overly cheerful demeanor, his voice louder than usual. No, I just needed some air.
Air? Is it too stuffy in here?
No, it's freezing as usual. I stand up and hug Amicus, which he enthusiastically accepts. I sink into his furry warmth, and I feel my eyes sting as the reality of how much time we have left really sinks in. Amicus. My voice is so small and sad, and Amicus quickly but gently sets his paws on my shoulders to push me back a step so that he can look me in the eyes.
Hey, I'm going to be back early tonight. As early as possible. Unfortunately, there are a few mandatory meetings involving the Chemians that I must attend first.
I know. Amicus had tried to take the day off, but of course things came up.
And don't worry, I've kept tonight simple. Just dinner between you and I.
I can tell that Amicus is putting on a brave face. So I do the same, and swallow back the awful feelings that have been threatening to overwhelm me. All right, I'll be waiting.
Good. I won't be long. And the sooner I leave, the sooner I will return.
Then you'd better get going.
Right away, Emperor Consort.
I grimace at the title I would hold if Amicus made our marriage official. But he plants a kiss on my face anyway, before pulling back and smiling at me.
I love you, and tonight we shall be happy.
I try to smile back as Amicus takes his leave, disappearing out the door, wondering how I'm going to manage to do that. Hopefully well enough for Amicus's sake. I'm able to nap for a few hours, after which I walk through the halls, though at a much slower pace than usual. I take a good look at everything, remembering. I walk past the meditation room, and I pause before opening the door. I'd made up with Amicus here after our fight a year ago. This is also where I accidentally got high on the somni Cassius had been smoking. The main reason I opened the door, though, is because I'm curious if any of that plant is lying around, thinking of maybe trying to contact the monitor myself. I don't see any, though, and remembering Cassius's horrible experience gets me to give up pretty fast, not wanting to be tormented by the monitor because I didn't follow their plan correctly, I head out into the gardens like usual, taking in the beauty of the arranged foliage for the last time. I remember my first morning here with Alex. He'd been so helpful and kind, and I feel some sadness at the idea that I'll probably never see him again. It is dulled a bit, though, as I also remember that he'd been sizing me up for manipulation, even then. While I feel our friendship had been partially genuine, I know that what he's done is something I can never forgive, even though Cassius was able to. I head back in for a light breakfast, sitting on Amicus's usual bed. I watch the screens as I do, not surprised to see Amicus's face pop up a few times. He is the Emperor after all, but I am surprised to see my own face, and I know immediately they're talking about us, speculating. I tell Com to turn it off, and I sit there for a bit, thinking back on what has happened in this room. As always, my eyes are drawn to the dark wine stain on Cassius's bed, something that remained even after a deep cleaning. Of course, it always brings to mind the moment he drank that poisoned wine. The day we all sat there, knowing something was wrong, yet Cassius still trusting Cato enough to never suspect an assassination attempt. Something he probably would have suspected if Neferu and I had been less cautious about releasing the information on the sabotaged ship. It probably wouldn't have been enough to convict him in a trial, but at least all would have been known. Even now, I'm not sure why I handed the wine to him, knowing it would end badly, knowing I should spill it, just like I did my first time serving. Yet I did what I was told, almost like a robot, maybe because I'd been conditioned to do whatever the wolves had told me. I don't blame Cassius for staying away from the palace after what he went through. According to him, an assassination attempt resulting in a medically induced coma does things to the mind. I wonder if that includes forgiving a spy that's partially responsible for dozens of deaths. Feeling slightly nauseous, I send the rest of my food back. I decide to not think about Alex anymore, feeling like the cat had never really gotten what he deserved. I need to distract myself until Amicus gets back, so I head for the baths. It's become part of my routine, and the part I always look forward to the most for a couple of reasons. First, it's just nice to soak. And second, because I see the person I often run into here. He soaks in the pool, head leaned back against the edge, eyes closed. While I may have lost my friendship with Alex, I've really gained a great one with Neferu. Good thing, too, considering he's the only other sapient that's regularly in the palace during the day. I walk over to the benches, beginning to strip off my robe, glancing at the jackal. You know it's not safe to fall asleep in the bath. Neferu shifts, raising an eyebrow even though he keeps his eyes closed. I appreciate your concern, but I feel that the sensation of water filling my lungs would be sufficient to wake me. And I was not asleep. I was waiting for your arrival. I walk up to the edge of the pool, Neferu turning his head to look up at me. Really? I didn't think you'd be here. Amicus told me he had Chemian meetings to go to. Briefly, I feel a little bit upset at the idea that Neferu might stay at the palace to see me, while Amicus wouldn't. But only briefly. Things are different for the Emperor. Luckily for me, my presence is no longer required at such meetings. It matters little. I have direct access to the Emperor anyway. You really should choose your words more carefully in front of the Emperor's fiancée. Why must you always think I speak in innuendos? Because you do. I jump into the pool. It's not something I usually do, and I'm reminded why as my entire body burns for a few moments. It's worth it though, as I come up and see that I've accomplished my goal of splashing Neferu, the jackal currently in the middle of pawing water from his eyes.
I must say, you become more like him every day.
I move to the bench to sit beside the jackal, also wiping my own eyes as they sting from the salty spring water. Because I'm more willing to shut you up?
Yes, crude like the wolves. Having to resort to physical methods because they can't use their words properly.
I narrow my eyes. Well, talk enough shit, then you're gonna get hit. Humans are the same, and I have a feeling jackals are too.
How would you know? I've never raised a paw against anyone on this moon.
Probably because you know you wouldn't stand a chance. Also, I have seen you fight. First with Alex, and remember you accepted a spar with Amicus a few months back.
I seem to have forgotten.
Well, I haven't. You took off all your clothes to tease him, then got floored in like a second.
He struck me in the stomach when I was not ready. And very hard, mind you. Their combat techniques are as crude as their words.
You weren't ready because you were still using your words after the fight had started. Even though the incident had been a little worrying at the time, I find it mostly funny now, and I smirk at the memory.
How is that funny? I had to check into hospital to make sure he didn't rupture anything. It was very dangerous to do such a thing in what was supposed to be a friendly spar.
I think it was the way you went from showboating to making the weirdest noises after you fell on the ground. Amicus probably did take out a lot of his built-up frustrations in that attack. And unfortunately, it resulted in even more tension between the two of them, which makes things difficult because I like them both. I guess Neferu at least still talks official business with Amicus. Neferu huffs.
And like that blow, bringing that up is rather low of you.
He's right. My mood is a bit strange today, and just like with Virginia, I find myself being more blunt. I shrug. Well, so is making shitty comments about all wolves. Neferu sighs loudly, seemingly at a loss for words. A rare sight. I start to feel a bit guilty and clear my throat, changing the subject to the subject I'm not really sure how to explain to the jackal. So, I'm leaving tomorrow. Neferu's eyes light up.
So I've heard. Which is why I wanted to be sure that I would see you today. Though I'm starting to regret it considering your mood.
I slump against the ledge. Sorry. I'm feeling weird today. I'm just overwhelmed with everything that's happening.
Well, you'll be returning, won't you?
Yeah. Just not sure when that might be. Obviously, Amicus wouldn't have told Neferu about our situation, maybe even if the parents had directed him to. I'm guessing it was Virginia who told him I'm leaving.
This is a temporary trip, is it not? You are engaged to be married, after all.
I shift a little under his intense gaze. Yeah, but I miss my planet. I just need to be home for a while. So it might be a while. Neferu is quiet for a moment.
Does a while mean weeks? Months?
I look away, over to the surface of the steaming water. Maybe a bit longer.
Years?
Maybe.
Well, I must say that I was rather shocked to hear of your sudden plans for departure. You would not tell me earlier. But now I'm less surprised, considering that it sounds like you yourself did not realize you would be leaving.
I half-heartedly will the parents to send me a signal that I can just tell Neferu everything. But, like always, all is quiet in space. I just didn't know how to tell you.
That, or you're hiding something.
I look at him.
What? Oh, Marco, you're not nearly as subtle as you think. Like I said, you're becoming more like Amicus every day.
What do you mean?
Well, your sudden interest in galactic affairs for one. But mostly, it's your mere presence here in the first place. It makes little sense.
Oh, yeah? I kind of hope that Neferu figures it out on his own, considering that would dodge the issue of me telling anyone.
Oh, yes. If I were to guess, you are currently being trained by Adastra to assimilate your people with the children of the wolves.
I physically recoil at the idea, even though he's incredibly close. What? Hell no! I would never do that to my people. Or to any people. Despite Amicus being emperor, and despite his slow but steady improvements for the Wolven children, it's still not a situation I would put Earth in willingly. Neferu raises his eyebrow again, seemingly convinced by my reaction. We regard each other for a moment, and Neferu blinks first.
So, you really won't tell me?
I didn't say I had a secret to tell, though. You're just assuming.
Honestly, I'm a bit hurt that you feel you can't trust me with this information. After all this time.
Now I raise an eyebrow. Neferu, you haven't told me anything about your own situation on your planet, along with your family.
Well, you've never asked.
Because I know it's personal. You dodge the topic whenever I bring it up.
It's a very long story, first of all. And second of all, it's a story about me being a selfish, foolish brat. Of course I wouldn't want to tell you. But if I tell you, would you tell me?
I think, somewhat tempted to make him tell his story, then just lie about mine. But only for a second. Instead, I just sigh. No, I'll only be able to when I come back. Neferu's impish nature deflates pretty quick.
Well, at least you're honest. I suppose I'll trust you that it's rather important and not my place to know. But I'll admit that I'm still hurt by all of this, and that's not something I admit often.
I'm sorry. I promise you'll understand once I'm back.
But years? I can't predict where I'll be in that amount of time.
Back on Chemia?
Possibly, if all goes well.
I'll visit. I'm a citizen, remember?
Well, they rarely allow use of the stretch for only visits. But being the Emperor's husband might make that easier.
Yeah, I'll convince him. We sit there in silence for a long while. Then I place a hand on Neferu's knee. It's not something I would have done in the past, considering the Jackal's reputation, but nothing about it feels sensual. Instead, I do it out of pure solidarity and friendship. And I want to say thank you, Neferu, for everything. I don't think I'd be alive if you weren't there for me. I know you had your reasons. Everyone did. But thank you.
It is the duty of all Chemians to protect any sapient fleeing Wolven violence, whether they be sibling, child, or, as you happen to be, abandoned.
I'll believe that after I visit Chemia and have a look for myself.
I'll be your tour guide.
And you know, Neferu, you can still tell me what's going on with your family if you want.
Definitely not. Do you really want to know? The situation is complex, unresolved, and seems to always be changing.
I mean, yeah, I'd like to know. It seems really important to you, but it feels unfair that I'd make him tell me his clearly painful story without my own. Again, when I'm back, then we can trade.
Deal.
Neferu stands up, stepping onto the bench before reaching down to pull me up.
Now, let's go for a walk before your wolf returns. I would like our last conversations to be of happier things.
I take his paw, allowing him to guide me. Then the two of us step out of the pool to towel off and dress. Neferu is easily able to shift our conversation to things that are light and interesting, and it almost makes me forget that I'm leaving.
And so this Wolverine actually believes that the Imperial family would even consider apologizing for the war. Absolutely asinine, if you ask me.
Sounds reasonable.
What? No, Marco, it is not. We suffered the heaviest casualties.
But wasn't it started by the Empire?
No, it was started by Chemian provocation. Haven't you learned the history?
Well, yeah, but attacking a planet full of sapient children wasn't the best way to respond.
We attacked the Chemian bases with weaponry which happened to be on a planet full of children. They were never fired on directly.
So says the Adastran history books.
Oh, why would you assume that? It's not a good argument to just whip out assumptions that these are lies. My father never lied.
I'm basing it off of what I've learned from Chemian history as well. I'm not just learning about Adastra, you know. Amicus is quiet, but still looks huffy, so I lean over from my side of the couch to touch his shoulder. Listen, I'm not saying your father is a liar. I'm saying that sapients as a whole are. I know because humans do the exact same thing when we write our history.
You should have more pride in your species. How will you lead the humans otherwise?
Actually, I think pride is the biggest woven problem. Amicus just goes quiet. I think I hit a sore spot talking about his dad, and although I'm enjoying our usual, somewhat intense banter, I don't have as much energy as usual. Sorry, I shouldn't talk about things I don't understand. Amicus looks at me with surprise.
What? No, I do want you to talk to me about these things. I might seem upset, but I already told you I enjoy debating.
No, me too. I'm just a little tired today.
Ah.
What I want to talk about is what's about to happen to me. About how I very much doubt the parents themselves. How I don't want to do anything except stay on this couch. But I can tell Amicus doesn't. He came in right away with the stories of the day, as if this isn't our last night together. And while it had been easy to pretend with Neferu, it's so much more difficult seeing Amicus put on such an act to, I assume, make me feel better. Amicus, I don't know if I can. Amicus suddenly holds up a paw.
Wait, Marco. I know. But please, let's have this night together. I promise you, the situation will become clearer for you. Just give it a little more time.
That gives me pause. It's as if Amicus knows something that I don't.
And trust me, because we're traveling back to Earth together, We will have plenty of time to discuss whatever you wish.
Amicus's eyes start to glisten just slightly as he holds back tears, then clears his throat.
But for now, I think it's preposterous that they expect me to apologize.
I watch Amicus for a long time, realizing that maybe I should be keeping my suspicions to myself for now. He is in constant contact with the parents, after all, and I have to respect the fact that he can't tell me what they say unless given specific permission to do so. But he must believe in them if he's still willing to go along with their plan. On top of that, he knows how hard this separation is going to be. We both do. But he wants to save the tears for the end, and I guess so do I. So, well, if it's just the Imperial family apologizing, that's actually asking for very little to create an alliance.
It's one of many demands, and they simply want to humiliate us. All because Neferu managed to get his balls kicked in.
I mean, he's the Pharaoh's son. You should honestly consider yourself lucky that no one else saw you hit him.
He's an easy one to hit. What does he expect, always leaving himself wide open? He deserved it, both times.
I sigh. Be nice, Amicus. I lean into him, and he pulls me into his lap, nuzzling my hair. We talk for a while longer, the two of us trying to stay awake for as long as possible. I eventually manage to relax a bit, and finally my eyes grow heavy as Amicus's warm breath puffs steadily against my head. I imagine this moment folding into a pocket of infinity, made to go on forever. Our responsibilities, gone. The coming trials, never to arrive. But time does march on, and without realizing it, I start to fall asleep.
You are on the right path.
I grasp blindly at the sound of his voice. Hello? I don't know what to do. My feet slide quietly across the rug and marble, leaving Amicus behind on the sofa.
Apologies for the extended silence.
But why? Who are you?
You know me.
I walk deliberately in the direction I know to go, my only distraction being the furious twitching in my left eyelid.
You needed time to learn about yourself, to learn about the Galaxius, to steel your resolve. And now you are ready to forge ahead.
No.
What? Would you like to glance through the eyes of the perils to see what lies ahead?
What? Something trembles under my feet. I sense someone else. He does too. I move my mind toward the presence, towards her.
This way.
No. He watches me, and for the first time, I sense something from the dragon that almost feels like worry.
Don't be distracted by rogue entities. This is dangerous.
What does that mean? It doesn't matter, because I keep moving away. This presence, I know her. She tried to contact me in the amalgamation. She refused to mingle. She stayed separate. And now, I can see her. She bows to me.
Hello. My replacement. There is much to say.
Meera.
So you do possess a notable level of intelligence.
I'm confused, unsure as to what's happening. Why it's happening. I swallow, or at least I do mentally. You say I'm a replacement?
My replacement. Yes. Though I suppose that label isn't entirely accurate. You're more of a successor. Though my inability to complete their requests has thrust some of those duties upon you. So yes, a successor, but also a replacement.
Sorry, what was your assignment? She stares back at me for a while, brows furrowed, and I wonder if she's upset with me.
Shall we adopt Chemian etiquette and get to the point quickly? I have a feeling my time with you will not be long.
Sure.
Splendid. So, Marco, do you trust the parents?
Huh? I heard her well enough. I just don't know how I should answer the question.
I said, do you trust the parents?
Yeah, mostly. Sorta. I say that because I'm pretty sure the parents are listening right now. For the past several months, I've been trying to smother the questioning thoughts that I've had, the worry that I'm being kept from the full truth. And that's mainly because I don't want to jeopardize Amicus's plans, his future goals. He knows so much more about the parents than I do, and though he has his reservations after what happened to me, I think he trusts them. And because I trust Amicus, I guess I trust the parents as well.
You're not a very good liar, are you, Marco?
I'm not lying.
Do you know what my fate was, Marco?
I think back, trying to remember the full story. You committed suicide to force Drusus into a choice. Right? The tigress continues to look at me with that piercing gaze, and I start to become more uncomfortable. Listen, you had a lot to say, right? What is it?
Marco, what does it mean to be a sapient?
I sigh, starting to get annoyed with how little explanation I'm getting. I shouldn't be the one answering questions. I don't know. To be self-aware? Meera laughs, and there's an odd growling quality to it.
If that were true, then my lover would not have been considered a sapient.
Lover? I wonder if Drusus is here with her. I hope so, because if I end up like her, I'd still want to be with Amicus. The tigress adjusts her sari, pushing it back slightly to reveal more of her striped face.
But that is certainly part of being sapient. Though I suppose my question should be more broad. What does it mean to be alive?
I sigh, opening my mouth to tell her that I don't know, before Meera answers her own question anyway.
Agency. The ability to make your own decisions. Consider that the parents claim to hold life above all else in the universe. With that in mind, does the concept of what it means to be alive merge with the goals of the parents? Does it merge with what they're doing to you?
Now I see where she's going with this. I don't have a choice. The tigress pauses, and I think I see her smirk a little.
No, you do not. Now, they attempt to right this fallacy by reestablishing choice, by telling you that you do not have to follow their guidance. But in my experience, the alternative was a scenario which threatened my very life. A sapient life which they claim to hold dear.
I think of Amicus's choice, a choice which wasn't really a choice at all for the wolf.
How can they proclaim themselves benevolent if they threaten the life of the individuals they manipulate? How is that even possible when they use our very lives to manipulate the ones we love?
I grimace. It's almost like this tiger is reading my mind.
I could not stand for it. Thus, here I am.
They try not to interfere.
They say they don't want to interfere. Yet, they've set plans into motion to take power from the Empire and govern the siblings directly.
I stare. How do you know this? The tiger glares.
I was privy to every one of their plans, even those 10,000 years into the future.
I try to comprehend that, but then just shake my head. But isn't their goal not to interfere at all? They're just trying to set us up on the right path. Taking full control would go against everything they say they stand for.
So they say. Yet, they're stepping in to directly control your every move, your thoughts. Soon, it will be the entire Galaxius.
I shake my head again, but Meera goes on.
Did you ever wonder why the intel you gathered on Kato's sabotage of the Emperor's ship was never utilized, seemingly pressed to the back of the minds of all who knew of it? Information that could have brought an end to the struggle and a much more peaceful process.
I narrow my gaze on the tiger, really starting to feel uncomfortable.
Why did you hand the goblet to Cassius, despite knowing what would follow?
How do you know this? Are you watching me? Meera's image seems to quiver.
I am always watching. I lurk outside your windows as you work. I sit in your closet, listening to you breathe as you sleep. I creep up upon your bed, willing you to die.
What? The back of my neck prickles, the hairs rising as Meera begins to disappear. The space around me pulses, then fades out slowly as well.
Do you want to know what death is like?
Meera's voice isn't her voice anymore. It's a cacophony of whispers and rustling, like a writhing pile of dead leaves.
I still taste the poison in my mouth, the agony in my body, the terror of dissolving into nothing.
The whispers move behind me and up my neck.
A nothingness that was simultaneously something, forced to be tormented in the hell of non-existence, of never-ending black.
Is it talking about the amalgamation? The voice chuckles, whipping up a vortex of dried leaves.
The amalgamation. Even you know how unnatural its existence is. A swirl of countless souls being harvested by the parents to be used.
I start to try and pull away from this thing, this creature that is no longer Meera.
You will experience it soon enough. The horror of it all.
Something begins to wrap around my neck, the pressure growing.
But don't worry. You won't be alone. You will suffer together with your wolf forever.
Enough!
A strong, solid voice breaks through the smothering terror, and I cling to it immediately. As if being pulled from a deep pool of water, I emerge from the black, back into the dazzling glimmers of space. The monitor looms before me, exuding a stifled combination of frustration and concern.
Are you all right, Marco?
The fear I've had lingers, but I'm able to steady my nerves enough to talk.
What the hell was that?
The monitor stares at me for a while, thinking, contemplating something.
The other.
I had already suspected that, but to have it confirmed makes my heart sink. I was told it wasn't here yet.
Where you are now is not where you used to be.
But why was it Meera?
It can take any form its host can imagine. Speak any words its host might imagine.
The dragon looks pointedly at me. Host. I sense something like a sigh from the reptile.
You were the host. It was simply using your doubts against you.
I think, trying to remember everything that Meera, or the other, had said. And something still doesn't feel right. She definitely didn't feel like something I could just think up. And the things she was saying, like about the amalgamation, I'd never thought those things before.
Many thoughts are subconscious.
I wonder if Meera is still out there with the other.
The true Meera is in the amalgamation. And though she may have come up short in her duties, she still rests happily with Drusus.
Yet I can't help but feel that must have been part of Meera, a mixture of doubts between me and her. Can the other store bits of memory of people that it comes into contact with?
Do not worry yourself over things that do not currently matter. What matters now is your doubts.
Despite what I've just been through, I feel a flare of irritation at the dragon's nonchalant attitude. Even if that was the other that brought it out of me, at least now my worries are out in the open. Well, you've heard my doubts. What do you have to say about them? The monitor bows his head slowly, closing his eyes.
It is worrying.
Is it? Well, now you know how I felt the past year. I'm defiant, even though I'm scared. Now that they know what I think, there's a chance that I might have just screwed up Amicus's destiny.
We've always known. We had simply hoped that those feelings would fade with time.
By just not saying anything on your end? I have no idea what's going on.
We mustn't interfere.
I don't care. If you don't start telling me what I'm doing and why, then I'm going to follow Meera. You say you care about choices, right? Well, I'm making my choice now. Either you tell me, or I walk out. Of course I'm bluffing, but only partially. There's a small bit of me that is determined to follow through on that, and I think the monitor senses it too. I'm just done. Again, that big, heavy sigh.
Providing you with knowledge ahead of schedule makes our ability to see blurry.
I shrug. Better than me just leaving, right? Now, tell me about your future plans, the amalgamation, and why your moral compass is so fucked up. A typical pause.
I am sorry. We cannot reveal everything to you. At least, not yet. But we can at least tell you the plan we have set forth for you.
I'm relieved and a little surprised that I got the parents to do something that I want for a change.
Do not get used to it. Trust when I say they do not do this often.
I shrug, trying not to feel too smug that I just figured out that I hold a good deal of power myself. The parents struggle between wanting to appear benevolent while also wanting to force their subjects into specific roles, leaves them at a bit of a disadvantage with me. The monitor seems to choose to not comment on that thought process. So I focus back on him. So what is it that I'm doing? And why? I slowly come to on the floor under the archives. My vision is blurry, but for the first time, I feel somewhat confident. Having the entire Earth plan laid out before me has made everything make so much more sense. Still, the experience I had with the other, it's left me feeling paranoid and more than a little worried. I refused to believe that everything that came out of its mouth was all from my own mind. There was something more, things that I can only imagine Meera had said herself. Like, maybe she didn't say those things to me at that moment. It could have simply been words that she had said in the past that were brought to the present by the other. Either way, I'm going along with the plan, but knowing what I'm doing and why has made me feel so much more in control. I can even reject certain tasks that they might give me in advance, forcing them to come up with another way. This new dynamic feels closer to true agency. I was able to tell that the monitor, and thus the parents, were unhappy about it. Still, I can't help but feel that this newfound sense of power on my end is going to make my life a lot easier, even if it makes theirs harder. I get up slowly, a smile on my face, feeling good for once. I make my way to the door, pressing the panel. I take a deep breath, feeling the cool, fragrant night air against my face. I stand there a moment, enjoying feeling like I'm on level ground with the rest of the Galaxius. In fact, I'm so lost in this feeling of relief that I barely notice the footsteps coming up the hall. Then I hear voices, laughing and talking.
Cassius, stop. We need to be quiet.
Alex's voice is a hushed whisper, though I can tell that he's trying not to laugh.
Oh, I'm not your tail kitten. What will they do? Arrest me?
Something is odd about Cassius's voice. It's slurred and tired sounding. I don't even attempt to hide as the two of them stumble into view, Alex clinging to Cassius's neck as the wolf tries his best to keep his balance. Alex giggles while Cassius playfully nips him around his face and neck.
Stop! You're going to make me laugh. Someone will hear.
Alex spots me and pulls away from Cassius, standing stiffly to the side. Cassius, not having seen me yet, tries grabbing at him, but gets his paws slapped.
Ouch! Not so rough. My joint's ache.
He stares at Alex, even as the cat tries to nod in my direction to tip the wolf off. He looks at me, takes a moment to process it, then stiffens up as well.
What's that? Oh, ape creature.
I frown, wondering if he's forgotten my name already. But my focus is mainly on Alex. Hey, Alex. I'm still feeling a little high and mighty after the trip I'd just had.
Hello.
This is good. I actually wanted to talk to you before I leave.
Oh, what about?
Well, first of all, what are you doing here? Cassius steps forward unsteadily, pointing at me, I think. His finger kind of drifts off to the side.
What right do you have to question him, human?
Alex quickly grabs one of Cassius's arms and tries to pull him back.
Cassius, please. You're acting very uppity for someone who's still considered a pet, even if you did win my brother's favor.
I casually lean against the doorway, smiling. Oh, I won more than that. But if you really want, I can call Amicus. He should have the proper authority.
No!
Alex freezes, and every inch of his fur bristles out. I wait, not saying anything, But Alex also says nothing, just clinging to Cassius's arm as he stares at me, as if just moving will lead me to make good on my threat. Well, maybe we can start with what it is you're doing here. Last I heard, you were banished from the palace. Cassius steps forward again, stumbling a bit as he drags Alex along.
Enough intimidating my cat. We are here to claim my father's ship, which we will then pilot to Amorpha.
Alex stares open-mouthed at Cassius, clearly shocked at how quickly his plan had just been revealed.
Cassius! What? Am I saying something wrong? Well, consider it your fault, as you wouldn't stop pressing the wine bottle to my mouth.
Alexios can only stare back at the wolf, mouth agape, before he snaps it closed and turns to me.
My master is simply drunk, if that was not already obvious. I am perfectly coherent, despite my slightly inebriated state. Coherency isn't the issue, Cass.
Alex hisses angrily at the wolf before turning back to me, smoothing down his fur.
My master brought me here simply because he wanted to. As his pet, I have no choice but to obey.
I see Alexios' paw grip more tightly onto Cassius's arm, warning him.
Ouch! What did I say about me being sore?
I sigh as I finally recognize that look in Alex's eyes. So, you were planning to steal the Emperor's ship, which is Amicus' ship now, by the way, just before I was due to leave?
Oh, you're leaving?
Alex isn't even trying at this point. Man, you're a real piece of shit. You know that?
And you're a reckless ape with no consideration for the rest of the galaxy.
I blink in surprise, though I am a little satisfied to see that I've gotten through his shield of indifference. Cassius, who had opened his mouth to butt in again, suddenly pauses, raising an eyebrow at the two of us.
Wait a moment. Do you two have some sort of history? You speak in a familiar way to each other. No, Cassius, only in passing.
I remember then that Alex had tried to keep our interactions hidden from Cassius, though not the information I'd unwittingly given the cat during our many conversations. And you have no consideration for the lives of anyone on this moon. I turned to Cassius. And how do you explain still wanting to get with this cat when he's responsible for most of the terrible things that happened to us this last year, to your family?
Don't talk to him, Cassius. Let's just leave.
No, you're not leaving. Otherwise, I'm calling for Amicus. I look at Alex, who purses his lips tightly. Then I turn my attention back to Cassius.
That is none of your concern. But if you must know, then... Cassius! Consider how you would feel, left in a position in which the intents of your entire society rested upon your shoulders. He had little choice, while also underestimating Kato's brutality.
Cassius's words are less slurred now, the topic of conversation seeming to have sobered him up a bit. He did have the choice to accept his assignment, as he put it, and I think he's smart enough to know that his actions would destroy countless lives.
You misunderstand. His choice was an illusion so as to assure the cats, especially the ones giving the command, that they are still grounded by their values.
Illusions of choice to steady and stable values.
I fully understand this, and so did Amicus when I explained the situation. We have both been left in such positions before.
I shake my head. How can you not blame him for the destruction and death of your people?
Marco, he is only the stylus. I blame the hand of his government that wielded him like a disposable tool.
Alex is tugging on the wolf's arm again, pulling him toward the main exit.
Cassius, let's just leave. There's more wine in our apartment.
I sigh, realizing that I probably won't ever have my questions about Alex answered, that he'll probably never get what he deserves. It still bothers me that he got off so easily, that Cassius is shielding him from any sort of comeuppance. Why do you trust him, Cassius? He's a traitor, but here you are leaving your empire vulnerable by letting him get close to you, the brother of the emperor. Cassius pouts, putting an arm around Alexios.
Because we understand each other, Marco. As you and Amicus somehow understand each other. I've grown tired of the games of politics. I simply want peace with an understanding partner.
By running away to Amorpha? Last I heard, they despise your kind.
Actually, we are similar in many ways. One being our shared culture.
I try not to roll my eyes at the word shared.
And the other being the fact that the cats now oppose the parents. I believe this can result in plenty of common ground. Come on!
Alex yanks the wolf, making Cassius yelp before stumbling after the cat.
Oh! Son of a whore, Alex! You're lucky I'm drunk. Otherwise you could have seriously injured me.
I watch the two of them disappear through the exit, part of me wanting to call security to have the cat arrested for trying to hijack Amicus's ship. At the same time, though, I wonder if it'll do any good, considering what the cat has already gotten away with. Still, I feel like Cassius seemingly wanting to abandon the Empire, while drunk or not, is something Amicus should know about. I decide then that I will tell Amicus, but only when we're both on our way back to Earth, and he has time to think over what he wants to do about it. As for Alex as a whole, I suppose his motivation and Cassius's willingness to defend him makes a little more sense. We don't always have a choice, especially when those in power seek to manipulate us. If we really want to break free, we have to make our own choices. I head back to our bedroom, suddenly extremely tired as the euphoria of the night begins to wear off. So, when I find Amicus in the same position on the couch, I practically fall back into his arms. He shifts when I do, then hugs me tightly before falling back to sleep. I wiggle myself deeper into his embrace before doing the same, falling asleep almost instantly.
Hey there, love. It's time to get ready.
I stand off to the side, watching Amicus load up the ship while also checking various gadgets. Virginia and Neferu make small talk, the kind that makes it feel as if I'm not going away for 8 years, that everything is still normal. But then I have to remind myself that this technically isn't normal, even though it feels that way now. Finally, Amicus walks up to us, brushing his paws together.
Well, it's about time we're off. I should be back in no more than 2 days' time, Virginia.
I certainly hope that to be the case, considering how much work will pile up. I'll try and keep the Empire from rebelling while you're gone, though.
Thank you, Virginia.
And I look forward to our next reunion, Marco. I hope your experiences contribute to a more disciplined character.
Thanks?
Of course.
Virginia sticks out a paw, and I blink at it until I realize what she's doing. This was the way I first greeted her, so I bend to kiss her paw.
Goodbye, Marco.
I step back awkwardly. Bye. Then Neferu sticks his paw out, and I hear Amicus sigh loudly next to me. I don't humor the jackal, though, instead just forcing it into an awkward handshake.
That's a new one.
Another human greeting. I'll have to show you more when I see you next time.
Whenever that might be.
It'll happen, I promise. Neferu raises an eyebrow at my assuredness, but nods.
Well, here's a Chemian goodbye. One between those who are close.
He then leans down, pulling me forward. My chin rests on his shoulder, his paw coming up to rest on my head, his cheek pressed to mine.
May Ahotep be with you on every step of your journey, brother, and may he help you to find all that you seek.
I expect to hear Amicus make more noises of disapproval, but it's quiet. I stand there for a few moments, then awkwardly put my hand on the jackal's head, hoping I'm returning the gesture appropriately. I remain still until Neferu lets go and pulls back. Never heard you call me brother before.
It's a farewell, normally reserved for siblings. In fact, I haven't performed it since I last saw my sister on Chemia.
You see me as a brother?
Close enough. Until we meet again, friend.
Thanks. And yeah, until then, Neferu. Amicus coughs awkwardly, stepping forward and putting his paw around my shoulder.
All right. I'll see you all when I return.
Virginia smiles and Neferu nods as we turn away from them, Amicus leading the way into the ship that's parked on the palace lawn. He jumps in first, then reaches down to help pull me up. As soon as I'm inside, the door closes before I can look back. I'm struck by the fact that I haven't been inside this ship since I first got here, yet it's all still so familiar.
All right. Let's make sure we have everything.
Amicus walks around the back of the ship, looking at various compartments, even checking the utility closet that I'd once been stuffed into. Then he opens the door to his quarters, doing more checks. I move to the seat that I'd sat in a year ago and look out the window. Virginia and Neferu stand by the entrance of the palace, still watching. I wave, and Neferu raises a paw in acknowledgement.
Everything appears to be in order. Com, initiate liftoff.
Liftoff sequence engaged.
The ship rumbles, though there isn't any sound as we begin to lift off the ground. Amicus sits heavily in his seat with a thump, buckling his seatbelt while I do the same. I watch out the window as the palace grows smaller and smaller, along with the entire city of Adastra. It's not unlike taking off from the airport on my way to Rome, though this is much faster. Before I know it, the glittering city fades into a small, sparkling spot of light on the globe of the moon. I stare out at Adastra, at the little patches of lights indicating the cities, and at the long stretches of dark blue that indicate the oceans. That's when I notice Amicus watching me closely. What? The big wolf shrugs.
Oh, just curious as to how you might be feeling in this moment. I must say, you seem less stressed than you had been last night.
I go back to looking out the window, getting one last look at Adastra, along with the smaller Torque and the much larger Anchorus. I guess things just became clearer, kind of like you said they would. Amicus grins, although I'm pretty sure that he doesn't know what I'm talking about.
Sufficient distance achieved. Prepare to enter the stretch drive.
Amicus reaches out a paw, and I take it.
Then you know that there's much ahead of us together.
I nod, the other's ominous statement of suffering with Amicus forever echoing through my mind as I watch Adastra get smaller and smaller. Then, it's gone. Replaced with warped space and unimaginable distance. We only have about 10 hours. That's how long it'll take before we get back to Earth. So we agree to stay up and treat it like having an entire day to ourselves. The first 2 hours pass quickly as we lie on the cot in Amicus's quarters, while he entertains me with the various foods that we have stashed in the compartments along the wall. He'd learned his lesson from the first time, after he ran out and had to rely on that less-than-savory protein mud shake. As for the space travel food itself, it apparently can't go bad, so we open every single one, taste testing them and ranking them from worst to best. Amicus is surprised that our rankings are nearly opposite each other, even though I expected it. You're always wanting anything sweet, Amicus.
Yes, because sweet is good.
Sometimes, but I'd rather have more of something that's salty and savory rather than sweet.
But why? I like dessert all the time.
There's a reason dessert is small and comes last, Amicus.
I don't see the reason.
Ever heard of too much of a good thing?
If something is good, then there can never be enough of it.
Amicus flicks a round, blue pebble-like pellet into his muzzle that I assume is some kind of fruit-flavored candy. I settle with munching on my salty, potato chip-like dried vegetable, finding it a bit sad that it's better than most of the bland food that I'd eaten on Adastra. Did your parents, ban you from eating anything sweet or something? Amicus, who's in the process of pouring half the bag into his muzzle, pauses before talking with his mouth full.
Oh, yeah. How did you know?
I grimace. So that's how you ran out of food last time. Amicus chews for a while, then swallows.
It's not like I'm always eating sweets. Virginia disallows me from doing so as well. I'm simply taking advantage of not being under supervision at the moment.
Amicus, your consumption of sugars has exceeded your daily limit. A report for Virginia has been filed, and will be supplied to her upon landing on Adastra.
Amicus pauses, then shrugs, pouring the rest of the bag into his mouth. Well, as long as you have the parental tech to keep you healthy.
We do. Everything in my body is regulated to normal levels once a month.
Wow, lucky you.
So I am technically free from any poor choices I may make diet-wise. I'm simply kept away from sweets to discipline my impulses.
Well, that's clearly not working at all. Amicus smirks at me before opening another bag of candy. I glare at him, then poke him in the stomach, making him grunt. I think you're actually gaining a little more weight. The wolf clasps his stomach with a hard smack.
This! It's part of my stature and is important for my center of gravity in combat.
Oh, really? I move to sit in Amicus's lap, rubbing my face against his bulk.
Yes. You see how handily I handle you when we wrestle. Besides, you like it.
I rest my head against his chest, feeling the softness of his strong body swell around me with each breath he takes. You've got me there. I listen to the candies clack around in his mouth, against his teeth and against each other. I've been savoring everything about him that I can, even just these sounds of him eating candy. We sit there in silence for a bit, becoming all too aware of the passage of time. Then I take a deep breath. So, will we be able to communicate at all over the next 8 years? Amicus pauses, his mood lowering a bit to match mine.
That's hard to say. I've wondered similar things, but I've not received an answer.
I sigh deeply. Sometimes I hate the parents. Amicus laughs, a stark contrast to how he would have reacted to such a statement just a year ago.
They are frustrating, to say the least. I have a feeling that we will, though.
Yeah?
Yes. They work in very mysterious ways. But I believe that it's clear now that the archives are not their only method of communication. I think the two of us joining together in, say, a dream would not be out of the realm of possibility.
The confidence I'd originally felt while leaving Adastra is starting to fade away at this point. Instead, I feel that familiar sense of dread and uncertainty taking over my mind. Yeah, I know what I'm doing now, but the whole process is so daunting. I hug Amicus harder, pressing my face into his fur, inhaling his lavender scent. I mumble into his chest. I'm scared.
Why is that? There's nothing to be afraid of.
I smile sadly, knowing just how untrue that is, that I have a hell of a struggle ahead of me. Amicus hugs me tightly, nuzzling my hair. Even now, he's managing to hold it together somehow, and that actually makes me feel a little grateful. I don't know how I would be able to do this if he was acting as unsure as I am right now. You know how big of a fuck-up I am. What if I do something wrong? Amicus chuckles.
I feel that the parents would not attempt this unless they themselves were certain of success. Simply follow their guidance.
I'm silent at that, and Amicus knows why.
I know that what we experienced with Kato was terrible. They weren't able to see as clearly. I know that they are much more confident here.
I just don't know how I feel about being guided by gods that don't know what they're doing.
Well, they are not gods, which is why they are prone to mistakes. But the time I've spent communicating with them over the past year has left me a bit more confident in their capabilities.
I squeeze my eyes together, letting the small amount of tears that had built up get soaked into the wolf's fur, so he doesn't see them when I look up at him. Why is that? He smiles at me, placing a paw against my head and pushing it back down against his shoulder.
Well, they have far more tools at their disposal than we do. I mean, they actually see the future in some ways. If I must trust anyone with my future, it would be the parents.
Amicus, don't trust anyone but yourself.
I trust you.
I just don't want to mess up and not be able to see you again. Amicus's expression grows stern.
That will not happen. I will make sure of it, no matter what the parents say.
But do we even have a choice? Doesn't it bother you that it feels like we don't have a say in anything? These are conversations that we've had before, but for some reason I keep flip-flopping on whether or not I do actually have a choice here.
We do. We just have the advantage of knowing the alternatives, and that this path is much more desirable.
I'm reminded that, while Amicus might be more open to criticizing the parents, he certainly still believes in their plan. I don't know if I feel the same quite yet. You saw our future? Amicus pauses, probably wondering if this is okay to share.
Yes, it was beautiful.
I worry it's not really going to happen. I've only thought of it now, but what if they're leading us on? Amicus grunts in surprise, clearly not having thought of that himself.
They wouldn't do that. But I suppose there is some degree of trust that goes into this, yeah? We're here because of them. All of us are. And I have to trust that.
I just wish we could run away to some other peaceful planet or something. But I know we wouldn't be together unless we were meant to do this. So I guess that's partly why I'm going along with it.
You know, judging by the vision, I think we will come to believe in our mission over time.
I hope so. Amicus slowly pulls me back to lie down with him, both of us lying on our sides as he spoons me. I try to think of something to say. Anything, really. Time is truly running out now, but I still come up short. Instead, I lie back against Amicus, amongst the many silver wrappers of food, listening to him suck on his candies. It's comfortable, and for a moment, I let go of my worries. But then, the tiredness of the night before catches up to me.
Exiting the stretch drive. Prepare for arrival in 20 minutes.
I come to with a sudden jolt, Amicus jumping behind me as well. I sit up, rubbing my eyes. Wait, already? Amicus sits up next to me, a paw on my back.
Are you all right?
Damn it, Amicus! We were supposed to stay up! There's a sinking feeling in my chest as I realize that we've slept away most of the time that we had to travel. Why did you let me fall asleep? I look at him accusingly, even as my eyes start to blur with tears.
Sorry, we were both so tired. You seemed at peace, and I didn't...
Ugh! I throw the blanket off that Amicus had pulled over us, and I step out of the bed, turning away in case I break down like a little kid.
Marco?
I act like I don't hear him, moving to the cockpit area to look out the windows. Sure enough, we're no longer in the stretch, instead drifting toward a very familiar globe in the distance.
Approaching Earth. Will arrive at Marco's residence in Rome, Italy.
A heavy paw rests on my back.
Marco?
We're out of time. The lump in my throat makes it hard to talk. Slowly, Amicus hugs me.
Marco, we did have time. Several months, in fact. A few hours on a ship is no time lost.
Any time is time lost at this point. Amicus doesn't say anything, and I lean my head back against him, swallowing down my bitter attitude because I'm not about to let it ruin our last moments together. Sorry, I'm not ready.
I'll be able to come into your apartment. We do still have a bit of time left, you know?
I nod quietly, allowing Amicus to hold me for a bit until we have to get back into our seats for re-entry. I feel slightly queasy as we approach Earth at an unreal speed. I quickly spot Europe. The brilliant sprawl of lights spanning the continent as a whole are far more intense than any city on Adastra. Italy's characteristic boot-like shape stands out from the darkness of the seas that surround it. I focus on the glittering patch that I know is Rome, and within seconds, we're descending into it. Won't everyone see us?
We're cloaked.
I trust what the wolf says, even though I haven't noticed any difference. We continue to descend at a rapid pace, and as we approach a block of apartments, I grip onto the seats in anticipation for a hard landing. But our sudden yet gradual halt is gentle. We come to rest on the roof of my residence. You landed on the roof?
Indeed. There was no room elsewhere.
Amicus opens the door and jumps out, and again, I'm worried about being seen. But when he helps me out, I realize how dark it is.
Stretch schedule indicates liftoff should commence in 15 minutes.
Another twist in my chest as we're down to literal minutes. Amicus leads the way to a fire escape, and I'm struck by how strange it is seeing my wolf framed in this human world. The sights of Rome, the sounds of distant traffic, it almost makes me dizzy with how familiar it is, despite having been away for so long. Amicus stops at a balcony, and I trust that it's the one to my apartment as he boldly slides open the door, apparently aware that the landlord never seems to keep it locked. I step inside, and through the darkness, I can see that my personal belongings are gone, obviously. It's been cleaned out, and looks just about the same as it did when I first got there. Luckily, it's uninhabited, and I wonder if anyone has stayed here since I went missing. Probably not if there was an investigation. I swallow hard, remembering how much media coverage and documentaries there were about the 2 Canadian and British students who went missing here a few years ago, and also the coverage of an Australian student who disappeared a week before I arrived. I hope I didn't get the same treatment while I was away, but I get the feeling that I must have. I shake my head, once again wondering where to even begin. I turn around, seeing Amicus standing there, and immediately I get a painful stabbing feeling between my throat and chest. His pose and demeanor, it's finally reflecting that our time together is coming to an end. We both stand a few feet apart, unsure of what to say.
Well.
Yeah.
I suppose we should begin our farewells.
Yeah. Until next time, at least.
Yes. It will only be a moment in the overall time that we have together.
Yeah. I bet when you come back to get me, we'll be like, wow, it was only yesterday you dropped me off.
Of course. Not even a full day. It will feel like hours, I'm sure.
The parents called it a cosmic microsecond or something.
Ah, well, probably a bit longer than a microsecond, though I'm unsure of the length of a cosmic one.
8 years, I guess.
I suppose that would be the case.
I try not to think about all the things that are going to make me cry. Like the thought of not waking up to Amicus for the first time in months. Or the fact that I won't have someone to really talk to at the end of the day. That I won't have someone who's just genuinely kind and loving toward me like no one ever was before. I swallow the lump in my throat again. No, I'll have time to fall apart as soon as he leaves. I step forward to hug Amicus, burying my face in the warmth of his furry body, breathing in his scent. I'm determined to imprint this moment in my mind, something to help weather what I'm sure is going to be a hard 8 years. He rocks us back and forth for a moment, kissing my head like he always does.
You are more than prepared for this. You're strong. Why else would you have been chosen?
Thanks. And you'll continue to be an amazing emperor, Amicus.
Here's hoping.
Though I still don't even know what to do right now, to be honest. Like, do I just walk out into the street next?
Oh.
Amicus steps back, feeling around his cape and trousers.
I really hope I remembered. Ah, here.
Amicus pulls out a slim silver rod, about 1 foot long. It's one of those holographic tablets that I've seen the Imperial family occasionally carrying around. Aside from Amicus, I've gotten the impression that he just isn't fond of electronics.
The parents have instructed me to give you this. It will connect to your lingua, which will transmit and display information that you might need. Otherwise, all communication will be through the lingua.
I reach out, taking it. The cold metal light in my hands. You almost forgot to give it to me.
Ah, yeah. Well, I did remember. You turn it on by tapping the top.
I do as I'm told, and a blue glowing plane slides out from the rod, like a page attached to the spine of a book. It's blank for now, though I know what will appear soon enough.
Just wait until they offer instructions.
Okay. I tap the top of the rod again, and the hologram recedes. There's another awkward moment of silence. Then,
Marco, I am so happy to have met you, and I thank you. You have made me a better wolf, and though this will be painful.
Amicus's voice cracks. His resolve to remain strong finally gives in.
I will think of you every day, and we will meet again in 8 years. No matter what might happen between now and then, I will see you again.
His voice is strained as he struggles to get his words out. Then the tears begin spilling over.
Damn it!
Amicus raises a paw to cover his face in frustration, like he actually planned on not crying before we parted ways. And I find that silly, because of course we'd cry. I'm doing the same as I move forward to wrap him up in a tight, almost desperate hug. He crushes me to his body, letting out a loud, gasping sob through his teeth as I feel the wetness of his tears land on my head.
I love you so much, Marco.
I love you too.
Like I've said, this is simply a stone in the way of our chariot's wheel. These few years are simply the push, and we'll be on our way again.
And things will get easier over time.
Without a doubt. And remember your ring. Though I might be moving away, I'm moving right toward you from the other side. We are permanently connected.
Yeah, the universe is spherical. I don't care about the other theories. We both stand there, holding each other, trembling and sobbing. After a few minutes, though, we both calm down a little, and eventually I hear calm buzz faintly in Amicus's ear.
Liftoff sequence should be engaged in 1 minute.
Amicus steps back, firmly gripping my shoulders. He's smiling through his tears.
And I think we shall see each other before then. The parents are mysterious, like I said.
Definitely.
Marco, my lover, my partner, my future husband. I love you.
And you know I love you too. Amicus pulls me against his chest again, squeezing me hard.
You will have amazing success here. And I'll see you soon. Very soon.
He plants a kiss on my mouth, and I have just enough time to kiss back before my wolf turns away and disappears out the balcony door. I listen to the metallic sounds of his footsteps hurrying up the fire escape. Then, nothing, until there's a soft hum that I can only imagine is the ship, before it's silent again. I just stand there in the darkness, feeling a little stunned before moving to turn on the light. Again, I just stand there, staring, unsure of how to feel. For the moment, it's mostly just an empty feeling, one that I'm sure will start to ache as I come to realize how lonely I actually am. But for now, though, I move to the desk, waiting, thinking. Then I set the metal rod on top of the desk and tap the top. The blue plane appears again, and I stare at it. Again, it's blank, and I start to wonder if I should just keep it open. After all, I already know what I need to do. But then, at that moment, I feel a twitch in my left eyelid, and words appear on the blue plane. It reads, "Proceed to the European Commission offices. The committee is expecting your arrival in 1 hour and 20 minutes. I read the words, knowing that the parents have already made contact here. They didn't just leave me alone to try and single-handedly convince Earth of the Galaxius. After receiving my new instructions, I look around as if I have something to take with me. But no, I'm still in my robes. Anyone who sees me will probably just think that I'm a street performer or a crazy tourist. At 3 a.m. My eyelid twitches again, and a map appears on the screen, showing me a half-hour walk through various alleyways and back streets, probably meant to keep me out of sight. So, with a deep breath, I pocket my alien gadget, preparing myself to begin this journey. I still don't trust the parents. Not at all. But knowing the ultimate goal will help me stay on this path that they have me on. Unify Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Americas. Keep the powers in Washington, Beijing, and Moscow in the dark until they fall in line. Then we all unify as equals. That's it. That's how you bring Earth together as one. Easy. I shake my head. I'm scared, but also relieved that things are moving so quickly. I'm also grateful that this work will help keep my mind off the separation I've just experienced. With any luck, I'll be kept busy enough that I won't have to feel the full brunt of that agony all at once. I look back into the room where it all started, taking a deep breath. I'm actually kind of excited. The thing I'd been dreading for months has now started, and that gives me a boost of adrenaline, preparing myself to face my duty. Then I turn off the light, leaving the apartment behind, ready to start another new life.
I make my way quickly to the throne room, trying my best to contain my excitement. The most difficult part of this exciting new life that I have is pretending that I'm not excited at all. So I try to look dignified as I walk into the throne room, toward Amicus seated at the back. I stop and bow as low as I possibly can.
No need for that. What news do you have, Scipio?
Unfortunately, I can't stop the smile from spreading across my face as I hold up the message. The Pharaoh has accepted our request. The diplomatic mission may commence as soon as you are ready, Emperor Amicus.
And that's a wrap. Welcome to this very special after-reading Q&A where I will answer 3 of your viewer questions. And this will be followed by some bloopers for anyone who wants to stick around to the end for those. So, starting off, we have a question from Kyle Gamer who asked, how do you think Marco's friends and family will react when they discover he's still alive? Well, considering that he's stuck in Rome without any documentation or his phone, he's probably going to have to get good and deep into his mission at the European Commission offices before he can even get home. What is the European Commission, you might ask? Well, it's responsible for a few things, from drafting legislation and arbitrating the legislative process, to representing the EU in trade negotiations, to drawing up the budget of the European Union itself. Oh, and also to scrutinize the implementation of treaties and legislation. So lots of really interesting shit. These are the people Marco's going to be working with, so I'm pretty confident that after a little while, they'd be able to get in home. They've got the right connections, they can get him home. I'd also like to imagine that they'd back up his story about space wolves and the Galaxius, since he's going to be spearheading the whole human integration thing. So yeah, I think once he manages to get home, his friends and family will probably take it pretty well, especially if he has an entire global organization vouching for his story. Alright, the next question is from Squash Googleplex, who asks, who is your favorite character in the series? Well, I mean, it's gotta be Amicus. But if I had to pick a second favorite, it would be Neferu. I would actually really like to see those two learn how to work together, and maybe even become friends with each other in the sequel, because that feels like a natural direction to take their characters while navigating the Alliance, and there's lots of room for both of them to grow there. Their existing kind of antagonistic relationship with each other really has nowhere to go but up. At least for it to still feel satisfying. Okay, and the third question. Aiden_Ya asks, how did you prepare for the work that went into this project? Did you expect it to take as much time and dedication as it did? Well, that's a big question. First, I read the visual novel. Then I bought all the audio equipment, spent a month playing with all the settings to try and get it to sound okay with my voice, then started recording. I think I recorded the first episode 3 different times before I finally got a take that I was satisfied with, and even now I can't listen back to that without cringing. I honestly had no idea what I was getting myself into, how much work it would be, or how long it would all take. I just knew it was something I wanted to try doing, and I'm really happy that I did. Despite every video feeling like its own unique struggle behind the scenes, I always enjoy interacting with everybody in the comments, and theory crafting, and otherwise just being unapologetic about this very niche interest that I have. This also connects to another one of my interests, which is D&D. I'm one of those players that is not afraid to do a bunch of silly voices for the characters that they play and just really commit to the bit. So pretty much every voice that I've done in the visual novel I have also used as a character voice in one of my D&D campaigns. The voice I do for Amicus started off as a voice for a half-orc wizard. The voice I do for Neferu was for a Curse of Strahd campaign who was a warlock. And the voice that I use for Alexios I'm currently using in a D&D campaign for another feline character. So I don't know if I would qualify that as being part of the process, but I definitely think that it helps me keep from falling out of practice with the voices. Now, I did get a few more questions, but they weren't questions that I actually have answers to. So that's gonna do it for this final Adastra after reading. I would like to thank my patrons, Charlie Miller and Lying Sora, for making sure that I didn't run out of beer, and I'd like to thank 21C Raccoon for making sure that I didn't run out of coffee. As for the rest of you, if you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like, share it with fellow degenerates, and leave a comment for the almighty YouTube algorithm. Until next time, thanks for watching.
A nothingness that was simultaneous, simulated,
Simon says it was the nothing.
It was the nothing in the ever-ending story of nothing.
Kato.
Fuck!
No, the delivery was great.
Okay, Kato. I said Kato, didn't I?
You said
Shit, I even hesitated. And I was like, no, I got this shit. Okay.
Say it for me. Simultaneously.
You know this one, Dani. It's an English word.
I know, and it's so like, it's also because like I don't know the character, so I'm just like going with it. I'm like, wait.
Just a disembodied spoopy voice, it's fine.
Why did you hand the goblet to Cassius? Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, your face!
I mean, when you look at me, I'm like...
You're like, I don't know.
Why are you looking at me?
Because I was making sure I was right.
I'm like, you're nailing it.
Sorry, Cassius, okay.
A nothingness that was simultaneous. No. The word is like no. These bloopers in general, they're gonna be like, you know what Dani can't say simultaneously. Simultaneously. Simultaneously.
Soon it will be the entire galaxy. I couldn't help it, I'm sorry. I'm broken. Get your shit together.
Sorry.
You good?
I'm good.
Goodbye, Marco. That
was... We did
We're
it.
done!
We did it.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I appreciate you so much.
Yes. I'm so glad we could do it and get done and...